Welcome to the Elevate the Vibe podcast, bringing you juicy convos with thought leaders discussing the wild world of parenting. Happy Wednesday, Vibe Hive. It is a solo episode today. You just have the dynamic duo here, Katie and Jason Berlin. And today we are discussing the triple threat: double standards when it comes to parenting, advice, and when advice creeps into the ever-dreaded mom shaming.
That's right, 3 of our all-time favorite topics here at Elevate the Vibe, and we're glad that you could tune in to be a part of the fun and excitement, because we actually have a little game that we're going to play for the mom shaming portion, where we will give you a couple of examples and let you decide whether they are mom shaming. We'll give our opinions, and maybe you could comment on our Insta post and say, maybe that's not mom shaming. Elevate the Vibe hosts, how dare you call that mom shaming? But we'll give our opinion, and you can chime in.
The impetus for the double standard portion of this is that when I was expecting, we had a new playground built in our neighborhood. Now, this is right in the middle of the pandemic. I was due in November, and around this time, this new playground was built. And to show Sammy some extra love, Jason every morning was taking Sammy over to the playground. And everybody in the neighborhood, we live in like a really small little community enclave, and there are quite a few people that you see all the time. So if you're out and about, if you have kids and you've been cooped up in your home, you're pretty excited that this playground was built and you want to get them outside and show them some extra special attention. Well, Jason was no different and wanted to take our son over there. So he started taking him, and I think maybe they only went like a handful of times up until baby was born. But Jay, I want you to tell the story about your conversation with one of our neighbors.
So yeah, I would wake up every morning 6:38 or so with Sammy, and we would go to the playground. And on this one time, 4 days after Mama had given birth, I saw a couple with their young child who was, I forget how old she was. She was very young too, and a baby. And so they mentioned to me, they're like, wow, we never see your wife here. She must be very busy. And I was like, yeah, well, she just gave birth 4 days ago. And so that's why she's not here. But I thought it was a little odd that they asked that because, I feel like if a woman was there with her, kid, they wouldn't ask, where's your husband? Is he busy? I don't know.
This is a really interesting point, because if you are a mom and you ever, are out and about with your children, no one ever really says anything to you like, wow, great job, or like, you're doing amazing, mom, or like, what's happening with your husband? Where is he? But Jason has noticed time and time again that when he's out and about with our son and our daughter, and if he is taking the dog for a walk too, so like imagine this sight. You see this man pushing a double stroller, and he has a dog strapped around his waist with a waist leash, and he's walking along. Jason will get like all of these compliments from our neighbors that are like, you're doing amazing.
I get lots of shouts. Yeah. I get a lot of bro nods. I get a lot of like, you're doing a great job, Dad. And I'm just like, just doing what I do. I'm just being a dad in the moment. I don't think I'm doing anything special,
Yeah, like he's saying, he's being a dad. But if you think about that image in your mind, like imagine you see a dad walking down the sidewalk. He's got 2 kids in a stroller, a dog on his waist. Just what would you think of it? Would you think like, yeah, there's a dad with his kids? Or would you think like, wow, look at him go. Look at that dad go. And then on the flip side of it, if you saw a woman who was pushing 2 kids in a stroller and she was walking a dog as well, do you think like, wow, look at that mom go, look at her go? Or would you just be like, yeah, look, there's a mom with pushing her kids in a stroller? And it's just interesting that like so many times you might see a woman, with her kids. Would you normally ever think to ask like, hey, where's your husband? What's he doing? Why is he just really busy? Like, it's just like the person was just inquiring, but it's that idea that like, yeah, as a dad, you're kind of going above and beyond just spending time with your kids and doing something with your children. Whereas like if a woman was doing it, people just wouldn't even think about it. It wouldn't even like cross their mind. So we think that there needs to be more normalization of dads in the world.
I basically need less attention when I do dad things.
Or just supporting all parents. Like, yeah,
support all parents.
Yeah, like, you're doing a good job, mom and dad. Like, and not that we need to shout them out, but just...
Or the next time I see like a lady with her, 2 kids at the park, I should be like, you're doing a great job with those kids. Where's your husband?
Yeah, she might
go really well.
Yeah, she might have a different idea.
Yeah.
She'll be like, I've seen your wife, or I'm going to tell her next time.
Yeah, exactly. And then I go back to the doghouse for another round. I'm sleeping on the floor with Randy.
Well, and this leads into the next topic that we want to touch on, which these two sort of meld together. It is the combination of people who maybe some of them are seemingly innocent, maybe some of them are seemingly malicious, but it's this idea of advice plus mom shaming. There is definitely a fine line when it comes to this, and it does get a little blurry, but there's obvious mom shaming. That's like...
I would never do that for my kid.
Yeah, or just making like blatantly rude comments to someone about their parenting. Like, okay, for example, I'm going to use an Instagram comment that I saw one time. Granted, I can't even remember the page that this was on, whatever it was related to, and the person that made this comment was probably like someone in high school or very young. They didn't really know what they were talking about. But someone was like breastfeeding their baby. And this person's like, ooh, that's disgusting. Your child already has a tooth, or like was growing a tooth or had teeth or something along the lines. Like, that's disgusting. Why would you breastfeed your child if they have teeth? They need to eat food. Obviously, this person, maybe they don't realize that many children, even if they do get teeth, they're still nursing. That's very common. Maybe they just didn't know. Like, even, there are some babies that come out of the womb that have a tooth already cutting through, like, a tiny little baby shark, basically. But, it's possible. So, that's a situation where it's like very like blatant, very obvious. Then there is a place that a lot of people, maybe they have good intentions, maybe they're just trying to get a dig in, but it's like this world of advice. It's like the unsolicited advice that someone decides that they kind of want to share with you, or like, push on to you. And there can be plenty of examples of this. It's like it can be like a little underhanded, and maybe the person that's doing it doesn't even realize that they're doing it. They could be coming from a good place, but it kind of ends up being like mom shaming a little bit.
I mean, I think that, everyone is trying to be well-intentioned, and sometimes you don't know what to tell a new mom, and, you just want to impart your wisdom on somebody. But I think the key here is that you don't have to impart your wisdom on someone who hasn't asked for your wisdom to be imparted upon them. So it's like, well, my kid did this when he was this age, and what I did was this. And you're like, well, I didn't ask you for your opinion. Like, I'm doing this, so, if I would ask your opinion, then that's fine, but I didn't. So
it's just like in any part of life, like receiving unsolicited advice about something usually doesn't go over well. Like if I was struggling with something and I was like, hey, Jay, I'm struggling with this. What do you think? And you're like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, from my point of view, this is what I think. It's like, okay, well, I asked for your opinion. If I'm like just going about my business and then Jason's like, you're doing that wrong. Here's what I think. This is what you should do. You're kind of like, okay, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. I'll just keep living my life over here the way I'm doing it. And it's the same when it comes to kids. I think, like you said, a lot of people might have good intentions, but an example of this. So like you might be thinking like, have I done this in the past? I mean, when I first started to talk to Jay about it, he was like, now I'm trying to remember, like, have I mom shamed someone? And
if I did, I'm very sorry if you're listening.
Yeah, I think sometimes like younger people too kind of like younger people sometimes get it past.
I'll give you a quick example here. I remember I was talking to my brother a while back, and my sister-in-law has 3 kids, and they were all grade school age. And I was like, "Hey, bro, do you know if your wife, is she going to go back to work after this? After the kids grow up?" And he said, "Well, why don't you ask her?" And I was like, and then I thought about it. And I was like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't ask her. Maybe that's like none of my goddamn business, and she should be able to do what the hell she wants to do. And I need to slow my little, 27-year-old roll who has no frame of reference as to what she's gone through, what she continues to go through. And, it was none of my business." And that was his polite way of saying, "Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what she says." Like, because maybe I want to know too, but I don't know. He's always outsmarted me at every turn. So anyways.
Well, we want to give the audience a little segment here where we ask a question and say, like, is this mom shaming or not? So Jason's going to tee these up and I'm going to give some direction here.
All right, so this is one that I feel like we can all relate to, who have known a pregnant mom, or we have a friend who's pregnant, or maybe you just see someone on the street who looks like she is pregnant. You're assuming that she's pregnant. We don't know, but we're gonna assume. And you say to this woman, "Wow, you look like you're about to pop," or "Wow, you look huge." Which I know, for the love of Christ, whoever you want to worship, I would never say either of these things to a lady. I feel like I've learned a lot in my life, and talking about looks is the way to a watery grave very fast. So I wouldn't say anything like this, but...
Well, there's an interesting period of time when you're expecting and you are close to the end, or maybe, halfway through and getting closer to the end, where some weird aspects of formality in the social world are thrown out the window, and all of a sudden it's okay for everyone to comment on a pregnant person's body.
It's like they know you can't run away from them or something, so you have to sit there and take this underhanded comment about yourself, like, "Oh, she's not gonna run, she's too big."
I think many times it's someone's way to just strike up a conversation with you. They make a comment like that, but those comments, yes, that is like a mom shaming comment.
Yeah.
You just commenting on people's bodies in general is usually not a direction you want to go in life.
There's just so many feelings when you're at that stage of pregnancy, and there's really no way that you could have a interaction with this person that would be positive if you're already thinking about striking up a conversation with them. Just don't say anything. Just let them live their life. They're already thinking every thought that they need to think. You don't need to add a little, "Oh, hey, here's a little fun little zinger for you. Oh, you look huge." It's like, no, you fucking moron. It's like, get out of my face.
All right, let's move on to number 2.
You look great for just having a kid.
So imagine that you are seeing a friend for the first time. Maybe it's been a few months since this friend has had their child, and you make this comment, "Wow, you look great for just having a kid."
Yeah, maybe we need to break down the verbiage here.
Is that really a compliment?
Yeah.
Because you're, again, making a statement about someone's body, and it's for just having a kid. Well, what does that mean? Am I supposed to look horrendous? Because I feel horrendous. Yeah. So you think you might be saying something nice.
Yeah.
You look great for just having a kid. It's well, for just having a kid, that part about it.
You could try to just say you look great or you look amazing, but that could still, the way your tone of voice is, the time of day, the conversation, the way the person does look, maybe they're not feeling so confident that day. It all can be misinterpreted. So again, the best way to compliment this person in this situation is to just not talk about the looks.
The looks are off limits. It's just in general life, you try not to make statements about the way people look in general. When I see friends, it could be very nice to see a friend and be like, "Oh, it's so good to see you. You look great." That's one thing. No. But
wow, you look great.
Right.
Holy shit. I had no idea you would look like this. I thought you'd be a train wreck to all shit shows.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
exactly.
it's all inflection. Like, you'd be like, wow, you look great. Whoa, you look great. Oh, you know, it's like, oh my gosh. Anyways.
Okay, so hopefully we really drove this point home for you.
Yes.
All right, moving on to number 3.
So number 3 here in our list of mom shaming wonders here is, it's kind of like the I never version. It's like, I never let my kids eat sweets. I never let my kids watch TV. I never let my kids play outside unsupervised. I never. And you're telling someone I never, meaning you shouldn't also do that, and you are a bad person for doing what I would never do because I am a higher level person than you, and you're doing something wrong because I would never do that. Does that make sense?
This is a place where you may not intend to make someone feel bad based on their choices. And I think when this type of commentary comes up, it's usually from someone who has already had their children. Maybe they have grandchildren at this point. Their intention is positive, but they are, again, imparting some unsolicited advice on, well, when my kids were young, what I did was, and you're like, okay, well, you know, that was 20 years ago and the world is a different place now. And I'm so grateful that you raised your kids to be, you know, like these incredible, perfect little human beings.
Yeah,
but
great job.
yeah, but it's like, I'm just trying to make it 1 minute to the next type of situation. And these are tough because the person may be wanting to help you. They may be trying to offer a solution, but they are inadvertently, you know, giving you a little shame.
They're throwing the shade too.
Yeah, they're throwing a little shade. They're being a little slim shady about it.
You might need an umbrella for all the shade being tossed.
Well, like you would need an umbrella if it was really sunny.
Oh, right, yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't need an umbrella because it's so shady.
Yeah, it's so shady. You need a light. You need a light to guide you
Yeah.
out of the darkness.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. That's right.
Yeah, get your flashlight
Yeah,
ready.
you need a flashlight, yes.
Yeah. So, moral of the story of these situations is if you are someone that wants to make a comment about someone's parenting skills, a situation that the parent is in, if a parent is not asking you, it's just better to keep that information to yourself and let everyone live their lives and parent the way that works best for them. Everybody's just trying to do the best they can.
It's true, and I'll leave you with my favorite quote. The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
To wrap this up, we probably have all inadvertently made a comment, and we may have been on the receiving end of something where, you know, it didn't make us feel so great. There's no right way to handle when this is, you know, headed your way. It's all very situational, but I think that the world just needs more support for parents and, you know, just cheer your fellow parents on out there. Any moms and dads that you see, just know that everybody's really trying to do the best they can. Give them the benefit of the doubt, show them love, and, you know, let's elevate the vibe.
That's right.
Peace.